So we are here for the Week 15 NFL Playoff Picture. We're after Sunday Night Football before Monday Night Football starts. This is Sunday after Sunday's games ended and Saturday's games. Saturday's big games ended. And there's 3 big games on Saturday. There's some big games Sunday that impacted the playoff picture. And one on Thursday that impacted, playoff picture for a couple teams. Impacted the playoff picture, as well. And then Monday night doesn't really impact the playoff picture. I mean, it might impact the Eagles standings right now. Eagles standing right now, but but otherwise, it doesn't. It might impact the Seahawks. If they can make the playoff, or if they're back in the playoffs, we'll see. A game back, or they're tied, in the playoff spots, or in this playoffs, we'll see. Are they tied for the tiebreakers for the last spot, or they game back? We'll see. Even the chance for tiebreaker, we'll see. So Baltimore Ravens, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. In Week 15, they won 23-7. So they are first in the North, 11-3, and they clinch a playoff spot. The first team in the clinch a playoff spot. As last team is 8-6, and the Bengals, the Browns, and the Colts. They have the tiebreakers if they were to be 11-6. They would have the tiebreakers right now, or those teams, so they would get in. Or on those teams, so or the 8-6 teams, so they would get in. The Dolphins are 10-4. They with their 30-0 win over the New York Jets. The New York Jets, though, didn't look convincing. They had Zach Wilson played, but he got hurt with a concussion in that game. They said head injury, which is a concussion. So he is out. So they had to put Trevor Siemian in. So that is why they are out. That's why they look pretty much blow out. And they had Jimmy Nantz won that call. And I'm surprised Jimmy Nantz was on the Buccaneers Packers game, because it was a national feature game. Maybe they picked out a few weeks. Maybe Rodgers. They thought Rodgers was going to play, but Rodgers did not play. So maybe they picked out a few weeks against the Chiefs. Got their win over the Patriots. It was a flex game. It was originally supposed to be Thursday or Monday Night Football, Week 15. But however, it got flexed out due to the Chiefs, just being dominant. It was before they lost their 2 games in a row, and the Patriots went a little bit win streak, but they just Chiefs, even though they had a off that game, it's still a little off. They just they ended up winning that one 27-17. The Jaguars have had 3 losses in a row. They lost one. Almost had a close one, in overtime. But the backup just couldn't make things go. If the starter wasn't, maybe it would be that different. But we'll see. The Trevor Lawrence got injured in the second against the Browns. The Browns with Joe Flacco are pretty solid. Even though both teams, didn't play well. They played the Bears, the Browns, but Flacco had 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Justin Fields had 1 touchdown, 2 receptions passing. So both teams played sloppy, but the Browns ended up winning. The Bengals won, and then the Jaguars. Speaking of Jaguars, they lost 3 in a row now. They lost to the Ravens. So they lost to the Bengals. So their 3-game streak is, and they're tied with. They have the tiebreaker over the Colts. But man, they're struggling. The Browns, Steve Jaguars, or they could actually be out of the 10 wins. May not even get you in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. So we'll see. What happens. Who gets in the playoff? Who doesn't? The Bengals with their big win, or the Vikings on Saturday. In overtime, 27-24. The Vikings gave it away. Their defense gave it away in the offense played decent despite having some interceptions. Played well played better in the second half, and their defense gave away in there. I mean, and then they made some in the fourth quarter team. Colts played dominant against a struggling Steelers team that didn't look super convincing, but played like their style football, and limited teams, the Colts, or the Pitt Steelers, they were playing well, before there's their games, they were playing well, like having their own style football, playing like not scoring a ton, but they were winning games, they were playing good defense, and they didn't need to play a lot of offense, they kept their opponents scoring numbers on a lot of games, but they've been struggling, They lost 3 in a row. They lost to the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. And they lost to the Cardinals in the rain delay game. Because it was a rain delay there, a lightning delay. So usually the NFL doesn't for extending games, but they did have a rain. They play through the rain and stuff. But it's a lightning delay, so they They postponed the game, and then they played and and now even against the Colts, they lost 30-13, I think it was. So man, it was not Texans with Case Keenum as the backup, and they were playing Tennessee Titans, which had their Houston Oilers, throwback, logo on the field and jerseys, throwback type jerseys and stuff. So probably because they were playing Houston Texans, the team that got them. And the new owner, sent them to Tennessee, and the Texans scheming. So they were playing, but the Texans are winning now. And then Bills with a big dominant win over the Cowboys. They're still ninth. I was gonna say with the Texans, the Colts still. I don't know about the Colts. I mean, the Colts look good. But are they actually gonna make it in the playoffs? I mean, the Bengals look pretty solid though, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make it in. But the Colts, who do the Colts play for the last 3 games? They have a winnable game against the Falcons. They have a winnable game against the Raiders and the Texans. They beat the Texans first time. Yes, they did even with CJ Stroud playing. It was their second game of the year. When CJ Stroud was new, so we'll see though if it's different. But with Case Keenum, Gardner Minshew should be able to beat them. We'll see though. Houston should be able to win that one. Texans, they played well. They won it in the last second field goal today in overtime. It really was those last second field goal. Or it would have been tie if a miss or a win. Or a win. Yes, they made it and they won. And because it was a make. They played the Browns with Joe Flacco. I don't know. The Saints again. So it's going to be interesting. With CJ Stroud or without CJ Stroud. If CJ Stroud doesn't play, it's going to be interesting. Is CJ Stroud going to be able to play against the Browns? Or is CJ Stroud not going to be able to play? So we'll see it against the Browns. It's either going to be probably 9-8. Maybe 9-8. Either 9-8, 10-7. So we'll see here. Or it could be, so we'll see, I don't know. And then there is, the Steelers, I don't know, the Bills are looking solid, though. The Bills have some tough games. The Bills, have had tough games this year. They've shown up, or sometimes they've shown up when they had to. They've been struggling a little bit this year. And they had that little struggle against, they lost to Jets, and they had some struggles, lately, where they lost to Pete. They had some struggles this year, but they showed up, they've shown up. And they've had some games, they stunner Patriots. They also lost to the Giants. They lost to Jaguars by 5, and they beat the Dolphins by 28, so it's like, You know, it's like some of these games you look at, it's like, huh? You know, they came back, but they have to play the Chargers on the Peacock game Saturday night, 23rd, which is their Peacock exclusive. Usually, the NBC they have a Christmas Day game, and last year they had a Sunday night Christmas Day because I found Sunday night football on Christmas Day, so they played a Sunday football on Christmas Day. And NBC usually is granted a Sunday night football game. But this year it's because Christmas Eve is on a Sunday. NFL Network is having an exclusive Christmas football game, you know, so. And then they're playing the Patriots and the Dolphins, which the Dolphins game is a big game, you know, so all three are big games, you know. But the Dolphins game and the Bills game, that's going to be a huge game for standings. Steelers, I don't know, the Steelers have been on a 3-game losing streak lately, so I have no idea, you know. You know, I don't see the Steelers, you know, making it. They've just had some losing streak. I think it's probably another disappointing 98 year, you know. Chance where they had like their own top opportunity to make it, and they just don't. The Broncos. I don't know. Let's see about the Broncos. I mean, they do have to play the Patriots on the Sunday night NFL Network Christmas Eve game, special game. But then they play the Chargers and then they play the Raiders, which all three are winnable games. All three are winnable. So it could be 10-7. I could see them sneaking in. Maybe possibly sneaking in. You know? After the last Raiders was 42. It was 40. Lions scored 42. The Raiders scored 17, so it's 25-point loss for them. The Raiders, the Chargers are 89. Even with a win. Next week, I don't know, on Saturday. If they beat the Bills, for some reason, they beat the Bills. I don't see them getting. So they're out. And most likely they're out with a win anyways, because the Bills, Texans, Colts, Bengals, one of those. Even if they beat the Bills, 2 of the 4 teams just have to win. 2 of the 3 other teams, Bengals, Colts. Even if the Bengals win earlier at the Steelers, which they should. Colts, Texans. And the Colts or Texans, those 2 have to win on Sunday. On Christmas Eve. Sunday. And then one of those 2 would make the playoffs, you know. And then the Chargers would be eliminated, so they're eliminated. Patriots, yeah, Jets were eliminated with their loss to Miami. And the Titans were eliminated with their loss to Houston. Chargers are eliminated with their win. Even with the win, so doesn't matter too much. I just, you know, the Broncos, Bills, Texans, the teams I think fighting for the wild card. The Jaguars and Colts are fighting for the division wild card. The Browns, Bengals, Colts, Texans, Bills, and Broncos. Broncos I see having a chance, you know. You might need a little help with some wins. They need a huge win They need a win against Lions, but the Lions played well, you know. They proved why they were proved why they were good after this. You know, some lost to the Packers, some fluke, and then the fluke lost. You know, they just made some mistakes. Now they don't make mistakes. They prove why they're good. There's 3 playoff teams that have a spot. You know, the 49ers won, so they are in. The Cowboys, and they won. The 49ers won last week. Cowboys won. Won last week with their win. And then the Eagles were in thanks to the 49ers being the Cardinals. And I'm assuming the Cowboys lost. Also hope them Eagles as well. And the Lions. Now we're in the hunt. Now for the pitch. The 49ers are probably going to be number one because of the win over the Eagles. I would assume so. But we'll see, And then the Cowboys probably have to loss to Buffalo. The Eagles have an easier schedule than the Cowboys do. Cowboys have to play Miami. And they play the Lions. I believe the Cowboys have to play the Commanders again. Or maybe. Do they? I believe so. Last week of the year, so. Yeah, they do so. They have 2 tough games, so that's going to put them, I think, at B. Let's see, the Lions have to play the Vikings twice, and then they play the Cowboys. The Vikings, and then they play the Cowboys, and then they play the Vikings again, so. They have 2 big division games. Yeah. And then they have a game against the Cowboys, which the 2 big games against the Vikings. It's really going to help. If the Vikings win, won the first game, then it puts the pressure on them to win the Cowboys game. And then, so basically, they just have to win one of their next 3 lines when they lock up the NFC North. Or the Vikings have to lose against to the Packers, which Packers with, I said that like the Packers are gonna have a stretch. This is just some fluke games. They're having where their other teams not playing really well. Not on their A game, and they're on their A game. They're playing A+ level game. And it showed last week. They had a chance to win. But late in this game, they made a big mistake. The Buccaneers made a big mistake in the first quarter, with the fumble, but Baker Mayfield couldn't get the ball right away in time. But that was it, just good just good defense, but otherwise, no real mistakes, and couldn't really capitalize anything really much. So the Buccaneers were 7-7 assault, and then the Vikings or North, they lost to the Bengals, which the Vikings could have won that game. But you could say the offense overtime, but it was mainly the defense in that fourth quarter for them. And the Rams, they beat the Commanders. They were up on that game, but the Commanders, came back a little bit. But the Rams ended up winning that one, so it doesn't matter. The Saints with their big win over the Giants, 24-6. That really helped the Saints. The Saints do have multiple paths into the playoffs. The Saints do. The Saints could win their division, the NFC South, and they can also get in with a wild card. So we'll see, And then, the Panthers are eliminated. The Cardinals are eliminated with their loss to the 49ers. The Commanders are eliminated with their loss to the Rams. The Bears and the Giants are not yet eliminated. The Giants have to play the Eagles on Christmas Day, Monday afternoon game. So we'll see how that goes. Monday, their second game on Christmas on Fox. So we'll see how that goes. But I see the Giants losing that one. I don't see the Giants being the Eagles, so they're going to be eliminated. The Bears have to play a big game. Sunday afternoon against the late window against the Cardinals, which I just don't see. I can see the Bears. Cardinals should be better than the Bears, right? They should be, but you never know. Giants probably gonna lose. The Packers have to play against the Panthers, which the Panthers. If the Packers play sloppy, and the Packers play decent in that first little bit. So if they play decent that first little bit, and they can take advantage, before the Panthers start figuring them out, before the Panthers start figuring out the Packers, you know. If the Panthers figure out the Packers, you know, after like the first little bit, you know, and the Packers are up, say 7 or 10 or whatever, you know, and then they keep it close, you know, even if both teams keep it close, you know, the Packers should probably just have a little bit of more advantage, just a slight advantage on the scoreboard that the Panthers can't overcome, you know, even if it's say like 7, 8, 9, maybe 9 points, you know, say, you know, they can overcome it, you know. They can't overcome it, you know. Even though it's a small margin, you know, they can't just like 2 possessions, small 2 possession margin, you know. They can't overcome it, you know. I think maybe possibly, you know. And then the Falcons. But the Packers, I don't know about the Packers, you know. They have to play the Vikings and then they play the Bears. So I think they'll probably be 8-9. The Packers will. You know, I could see them being 8-9. You know, I could. Yeah, they play the Colts, which I don't know because after the lost the Panthers, I don't see it. You know, it was a rain slap running game. Like it was a rain slap running game. Like no one, like both teams. You know, I mean they threw the ball a little bit, but it was more of a rain slap game. But they play in a dome, so we'll see. You know, I don't know. I mean the Falcons could win, but I don't know. You know, after they barely beat the Jets, so. I'm not convinced, though, you know. I'm not really convinced, you know. I think the Colts win. The Bears probably, I don't know. I think they'll probably be, like I said, maybe 8-9. Or 6-8 already, maybe 8-9, maybe 7-10. I just don't see it, you know. I just don't see it. You know, them being too convincing. Falcons do have a game out from winning their division, and so they have 2 ways to make it in the playoffs, but I just don't see it, you know. I just don't see it. You know, because I'm assuming one of the teams is probably going to be 9-8, 10-7, maybe even for winning the NFC South. You know, I'm assuming they're gonna have at least 9-8 record to win the South. You know, so in 6-8. You know, we'll see. But and then the Saints and the Rams play a big game on Thursday Night Football. They're both 7-7. And, you know, the Rams have that tiebreaker with the Saints right now. But a win, the Saints beating the Rams, you know, would be the ultimate tiebreaker between those 2 teams, you know. Because the Saints lost to the Vikings. And they lost, you know. They lost to the Vikings. Say if the Vikings were in the Saints or same record, the Saints would have the 7th seed. The Vikings would have the 6th seed. So we'll see, you know. The Rams, however, you know, do not have the tiebreaker over the Vikings with the same record. So, so that's, and then the Seahawks didn't have the tiebreaker over the Vikings when they both had the same record. So, the Seahawks have to have some hope, you know. And then the Falcons, you know, they definitely have to have some hope, you know. They're 6-8, you know. I don't know if they make it in at 9-8, you know. They might still be in for a little bit, but I don't see them fully making it. The Giants, I see them getting eliminated Christmas Day. You know. I see the Packers. I mean, the Packers could not be eliminated Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day, or whatever. Like one of those, like week 16. I could see them not being eliminated because they'll probably beat the Panthers, so it'll be 7-8, and then they'll limp in, you know, as like a potential wild in the hunt scheme still, going into the Green Bay Packers game. Going into the game against the Green Bay Packers, they limp in that one with a win. Like they get a win, it's not a convincing win. And then, you know, the Vikings show them, you know, that they're better than that. You know, so we'll see, you know. 8 and 8, 8 and 7, 8 and 8. Even 9 and 8. 9 and 8. I don't know. The Packers probably are gonna be 8 and 9. Maybe the Packers make it 8 and 9, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure. Really, there's gotta be some. There's gonna be someone. There's gonna be 9 and 8. Out there. Someone's gonna be 9 and 8. Two teams are gonna be 9 and 8 make the playoffs. The NFC South winner, and then two other teams. Probably are gonna be 9 and 8. Just who's gonna be 9 and 8. I just don't see the Packers. They have beat Panthers. Yeah, they might beat the. They have to beat the Vikings in order to be 9 and 8. So, which I haven't seen the Vikings. Even in the first game ever, the Packers played the Bears. Jordan Love won. So, the Bears did win that game. And the Bears did win that one. I believe it was Justin Fields was playing that one. So. So. It was like, no. And then, the Bears, I mean, they might lump in, I could see them getting eliminated even with a win. Because there could be 8-7 teams, like the Vikings, the Rams, 8-7. The Rams and Saints, one of them probably 8-7. They could lump in, maybe the 7th seed is like 7-8. Maybe the 7th seed is 7-8. Maybe. But still, and maybe they lump in. Maybe 6-9 they're lumping in. Maybe. I just don't know, Seahawks, 6-7. I mean, this is gonna be interesting, like the Viking, Lions should make the playoffs. Should win the North, most likely. I mean, the Vikings have a good shot, but if they beat the Cowboys, the Cowboys do look beatable, so we'll see, if they can, especially if they play the Cowboys well, they're beatable, if they're unbeatable, they look beatable, so we'll see. Like Lions could win that one. We'll see, and then the Buccaneers, have the tiebreaker in the South. The Saints, they play the Rams for a big one, so they could win the North. The South, they could also win, be in with a wild card. One of the Buccaneers and Saints could, so it'll be interesting, The Rams have a decent shot at making the playoffs. I mean, I just don't see the Giants making the playoffs. I see them being eliminated Christmas Day. With all, I could also see them being eliminated, before Christmas Day, before that game even happens, with some other teams winning. I could see them being eliminated, but definitely Christmas Day if they're not eliminated Christmas Eve. The Bears, they're eliminated probably. They're probably gonna lose the Cardinals. They should. But we'll see. With Kyler Murray, they look a little bit better. Kyler Murray's been injured and playing, and then he's injured, and then he comes back and plays. When he's fully healthy, if he has a fully healthy season, if he has a healthy off season, and has a healthy season, like this last fully healthy season, the Cardinals are actually pretty solid, So we'll see, But I see the Bears, losing to Cardinals. And therefore they're eliminated. The Giants, I see them being eliminated Christmas Day. I could see the Packers lumping in 7-8 with a win. Still not eliminate the Falcons. They could lump in with a win over the Colts, but I just don't see it 6-9. But I think they might still just be limping in, maybe with a slim outside margin, maybe to win the South, or maybe make it a wild card game. If one of the wild card teams is 7 seed, say 7-8, Maybe they limp in with a chance to win wild card. Limp in chance. Same Seahawks. I think they'll probably fall 6-8. I just haven't seen it being the Eagles, but Eagles were struggling the last few weeks. I just don't see it, losing to the Cowboys, losing to the 49ers. I just don't see it, That's them losing to Seahawks, even though it's in Seattle, even though it's at Seahawks. Seahawks at Seahawks. Saints Rams, like I said, it's a big one. We're 7-7 teams fighting for the NFC 7 seed. Winner gets a 7 seed. In the West, winner is probably win the playoffs. Losers out on the outside looking in. That's essentially what it is. So we'll see, Because even if the Buccaneers end up becoming 8-7, the Saints will still be in with a wild card at 8-7 if they beat the Rams, So winners in the playoffs no matter what, losers out. So we'll see, But yeah, it's gonna look a little more, predictive, Right now, there's just a bunch of teams, playing each other, and there's a bunch of seeds up for grabs, This team could lose, this team could lose, You never know, who could lose, when. So it's hard to predict, but I see, but right now, I just don't see the Bears, the Giants. I see right now, Falcons probably losing. But we'll see, they could win. We'll see, what happens, but we'll see what happens right now, but yeah. And then there's a big game Christmas night, Monday Night Football with the Ravens and the 49ers. That's a huge one, Monday Night Football. So that's on ABC. So that's a big one, with the 49ers and the Ravens, or even the 49ers. That's a big one. 49ers should win that. It's a huge one because they're 2 number 1 seeds, 11 and 3. Both going to face each other, Could be a Super Bowl matchup. So it's going to be interesting, so. But I don't know. We'll see, who wins, who makes the playoffs, It's going to be interesting, who makes the playoffs, who makes the playoffs, who doesn't. Who's in, who out. It's going to be interesting, but. And next week's going to be a big slate of games. It really is going to be a big slate of games deciding next week. Week 16. There's going to be a big slate of games, like I say here. Let's see. No, it's the scores will actually say it here. Actually show the record, shouldn't they? Yeah, the Saints Rams 7-7. That's on Amazon Prime Video. Or NFL Plus or whatever. Should be one. The Bengals Steelers, that's gonna be a big one for, but Bengals, for playoffs. Bills, maybe a big one for the Bills. Not the Chargers necessarily, but Colts. That's Colts, Falcons, 6-6-8. So it's a big one for both teams. Packers, a big one for the Packers if to beat the big one. Around Texans, that's gonna be a big one is, for the playoffs is Joe Flacco, and to step it up and play well, or is he going back to struggling way, or is it just a bad game, can you shake it off, or will Keenum play this one, or will TJ Stroud come back from concussion from the injury, he's having, I believe, his injury. So we'll see, Lions, Vikings, can the Vikings, step it up, play, step it up, their defense up, and play like and reduce the turnovers. We'll see, against Lions, Lincoln Lions, play turnover-free football. Once if they give enough turnovers, and the other teams, play better, they can show them to be susceptible, teams that they probably shouldn't beat, and they can get leads, the teams, they're up 21-0 at Saints, and they 33-28, so it's like, yeah, what I mean? Commanders Jets don't mean nothing. Seahawks Titans probably doesn't absolutely mean nothing. Honestly. Jaguars Buccaneers, that's gonna be a big one for the Jaguars' sake, because the Jaguars won 3 in a row. or us, Jaguars have. But the Buccaneers have won a few in a row. And they've won, some games, so they look solid, They've been looking solid lately, winning a few games, lately. Looking better, so and the Buccaneers, have a chance to win the South or, get a wild card spot if they don't win the South. If they're not winning the South, they don't win the South, so we'll see, That's gonna be a big one, for the big one. And that's gonna be a big one in terms of the Bucket Jaguars for the AFC pick. Like for it, maybe if they lose, they could lose the division if the Colts won and the Jaguars lost. The Colts would actually take the division over the Jaguars, and maybe the Jaguars are out of the playoffs. Maybe they're in the hunt looking in. Or maybe they have a tiebreaker over one that Ian's other eight. The other seeds. If there's other teams that are 8-7, maybe in the playoffs, maybe 7 seed, 8-7 in the playoffs. So we'll see. The Cardinals and the Bears. Cardinals. It's not obviously going to be the Bears. Probably not going to be a big game. Cowboys Dolphins. That's going to be a game for both sides. Cowboys are 8-10 for looking in, and the Dolphins are 10 for looking in the playoffs. Both teams are really solid teams. And they're looking for a nice solid playoff game. So we'll see. And then Broncos. That's only a big game for the Broncos. Chiefs. That's going to be a big game for the Chiefs. Can they actually they're not going to feel threatened to lose their division, or can they actually bounce back, and actually, win a game, win, this game and make it to the playoffs, actually, improve their seeding, maybe instead of being the third seed, can they improve the second seed possibly, or can they, do all they can, to actually 12-5, finish the season out 12-5, we'll see. Eagles should, it's going to be a big game for the playoff picture. But the Giants, probably not going to put much of a threat. And they're against Raiders. That's a huge one right now for the number 1 seed because the Dolphins could overtake the Ravens as the number 1 seed. Possibly with tiebreakers. I'm not sure on the tiebreakers in the AFC if both were happening to be 11-4. But then is the Eagles, if the 49ers lost, and the Eagles won. We're 12-3, Eagles would have the tiebreaker because obviously a better record. So we'll see, Man, this is going to be huge next week. Some big games in the playoff picture. So yeah, and before this video gets any longer, until next time, take care. So it's just going to be in big games, big playoff games. And who's going to win? Who's going to win the NFC? Who's going to win some playoff games next week? The playoff picture, it's going to be determining, the playoff picture next week, which there's 3 already eliminated each side, There's going to be a few more eliminated in the playoff picture for the NFC and the AFC next week, on week 16. Just who's going to stay and who's going to not stay. Until then, take care.